Hey, what's up guys? My name is Saurav and this is my YouTube channel Data Science Novice. So if you are new to this channel, please do like and subscribe. Your efforts are massively appreciated. So I'm back with another missing values technique, and if you don't know, this is a lecture series on data pre-processing technique where we are going to learn how to prepare data for machine learning algorithms. In this series, we are going to understand techniques to treat missing values, variable encoding, or outlier detection. Full information of this course can be found in the first video of the playlist. So if you are new here, I would suggest you to watch the first video where I have explained the roadmap for this course. In this video, we are going to do the Python implementation for missing category. And if you don't know what is missing category imputation, I would suggest you to watch the previous video where I have explained the theory. And also in this video, I'm going to show you that how I would have deal with the missing values if I were to do this project. So let's jump to the Jupyter notebook. So here I have already imported the libraries. Then we are just importing the dataset that we have been using so far. So let's assume we are doing an actual project. So first we are going to create two lists. In the first list, we are storing the categorical variable having missing values. And in the second one, we are storing numerical variable having missing values. And the reason is this is much more convenient. It is like you can keep track of everything, and that's what we do in the industry. We try to write a code or do things in such a way that we can keep track of everything. So here we have created two lists, catvar na and numvar na. Make sure to write in such a way that if you look at the code after a few days, you can easily understand it. Next, we are running a for loop. This data.item has two things, label name, that is variable name, and the content. So the content is nothing, just what kind of variable it is, whether it has numerical values or whether it has string values. Next, we are running conditions. That is, if the content is a string type and the percentage of missing value is greater than 0, we append it into a catvar na. And in the elif block, everything is same, but now we are doing it for the numerical variable. So that's why we are changing the first condition and then we are changing the list name. Now, if you have been watching this playlist, you must have heard me talking about this thing. That is, in case of too many missing values, we cannot apply some techniques. So we are further going to divide the variables into two categories. We are going to call them cat_var high, which is going to store the categorical variable with high missing values. Then we have cat_var low, which has low missing values. And the reason for this is because we have to apply multiple techniques based on the percentage of missing values we have in the dataset. Next, we are running a for loop on cat_var na that contains the categorical variable having missing values. Then we are applying a condition, that is, if the missing values in that variable is greater than 5%, then we are going to store in it a list, that is cat_var high, else we are going to store it in cat_var low. So cat_var high contains variable having missing values greater than 5%, and cat_var low contains variable missing values less than equal to 5%. And the same thing we are doing for the numerical variable as well. Now let's check whether we have implemented each and everything correctly. So first we are checking for categorical variable having high number of missing values. So here you can see that all the variables have missing values greater than 5%. Now let's check for the categorical variable having missing values less than 5%. And here we can see that we do not have any variable which has missing values greater than 5%, which is a good thing. We can say that the code is implemented correctly and it is doing what we need. Next, we have to check the same thing for the numerical variable. So let's run these two codes. And now here you can see that these two codes are working fine, which means that this part is done correctly. So now we can move ahead further. Next, we are creating the function that will plot the distribution. To be more precise, this is going to plot the distribution for the numerical variable. And the code is very similar. We have been using this code. And the idea is that we are going to compare the variable to see how the distribution is changing. Similarly, we are creating a function to plot the categorical variable. And the idea is same. We just need to compare the results before and after the imputation. And again, the code is very similar. If you go through it once, you will able to understand it. Next, we are creating a function that will implement the missing category imputation for us. And we have named this function as missing tag. and it takes few arguments. First, we have to pass the data itself. Second, we have to pass the variable name. And the third one is the tag or the value with which we want to replace the missing values. Inside the function, we are returning the data with filled values with the tag. And here we are using fill_any method for that. So if you have gone through the theory part, you know that this technique is suitable for variable having high missing values. So next we are going to apply this on the categorical variable having high missing values. And in that case, we are going to use that list that we created earlier. So here we are running a for loop on the list, and inside the loop, we are creating a new variable, and then we are calling our function, and we are passing few things like the data itself, then we are passing the variable name, and finally we are passing the tag with which we want to replace the missing values. So here I am using missing string. You can use your name or anything you want to. Now let's run this cell. Next we are going to check the data to see how things are happening. So here look at the array. It has some missing values, and we have another variable called array missing, which we have created. Now instead of nan, we have missing as a string. And this thing you can see with other variables as well. Now let's plot one of the variable to see how the distribution is changing. So we are going to call our function, and then we are passing usual arguments like data, then we have to pass the variable, and then we have to pass the newly created variable, and then we have this plot size. So here we have two distribution, one before the imputation and one after the imputation. In the first one, you will notice that the variable only takes 5 unique values, but on the other graph, we see that it takes 6 unique values because here we have this tag of missing values. So it's kind of one of the values taken by the variable. So this way we are able to keep the missing values information in the data set. Next, we are applying the same technique on the numerical variable, and we are replacing with the triple line. You can use any value, but choose that value that does not belong to the data distribution. Now let's see how this affects the numerical variable. And here you can see that the distribution has extended because we have chosen a value that does not belong to the actual data distribution. That is why we are seeing spikes around 1000 because we have replaced it with triple nine. And to be honest, I'm not the fan of this technique when it comes to numerical variable. And the reason being, it changes the statistical property of the data. So let's see how the statistical properties are changing. So now here we have all the statistical properties like mean, standard deviation, etc. So you can compare these two things and you can see that there is a huge variation in the statistical properties like mean. Earlier it was around 70, now it is 234. So you can see that how it is changing. That's why I generally avoid this technique when it comes to numerical variable. Now for the case of variable having low missing values, you can apply any of the techniques that we have talked previously. So that's why I always create a list of variables because it helps me organize my thinking and it makes my life easy. So that's all for this video, and if you are new to this channel, please do like and subscribe and press the bell icon for the future updates. So see you in the next video. Till then, bye, stay safe and wear a mask.